y'all, and welcome to another exciting episode of Down Home Dirt, the show where we dive deep into the journey of entrepreneurship with those who took the plunge and all the ups and downs that come with it. I'm your host, Dusta, and today we are joined with Ty, the local artist, at the Clayton Chamber of Commerce. We are recording live, and I just wanted to bring you on today because I'm really excited about this entire podcast. So welcome and thank you.
I am excited also. My name is Ty. My company's Tooney Ty, and we're going to have some fun. Thanks, Dusta.
We're excited to do this, guys. So let's start out by telling us a little bit about yourself. Like, where are you from, and how did you end up in the Triangle?
That's a long story, Dusta, but I'll give you the condensed version. So, oh boy, my life story in a nutshell. Well, my dad was a pro football player, Dusta, and you would think I would follow in his footsteps and be an athlete or something, but that just was not who I was. So I became an art major in college, and I had no idea what I was going to do with that. But then my brother, it's a long story, my brother's best friend worked on a show called Hey Arnold. Have you heard of that show?
I love that show growing up.
Well, there you go. He was a director on Hey Arnold. And my brother said, hey, why don't you come on out here? He'll show you around. So I went out to Hollywood and went to Nickelodeon Animation Studios. And here's all these guys running around with Nerf guns.
And we're back. So tell us about the Angry Beavers.
Yeah, so you were talking about putting the storyboards and the art up in the room. So actually, it kind of was like this. You had tables around, and it was full of drawings. But the way that it made sense is that you had 11 by 17 sheets of paper with 3 squares on them. And the 3 squares represent the television picture. So everything you draw in there is going to show up as you draw it on TV. So that's TV cutoff. So if it's 3 panels per thing, I would do like 200 11 by 17 sheets. So that's what, 600? What's the math on that? 200 plus times 3, or yeah, well,
like 6, yeah.
Yeah, about 500, 600. So we would do it in sequence, and you number each page. So number 1, 2, and you do it in a row, and then you go down the next row and the next row. And so when the creators of the show come in and you pitch the show, you kind of walk down the row like the show is, and it's all recorded ahead of time, all the voices. So you play back then it was a tape recorder. So you play the tape of the voices that's done ahead of time. You have a script. Script tells you what the action is, and they would have post-it notes. And so as you're going along, and here's Daggett. We have a close-up on him, and he runs across, and I have this pan. And they would stop the tape and say, hang on a second, why don't we have Norbert kind of show up? So they would draw on the, real quick sketch on the yellow post-it and put it up there and cover the drawing I had. So by the end of it, after an hour and a half, you'd have a room full of drawings with yellow post-its everywhere. So then you'd go back and do revisions. So you go back and fix those and kind of make those work better. And then you'd post it all back up again after a couple of weeks. And then you'd go through the revisions, and they tighten it up even more and say, okay, it's going great, but this section, I need to move this section over here. So that's how we did the shows. We would put storyboards together and ship them to Korea. And they had big animation warehouses in South Korea. The biggest one was called Rough Draft. And so it was full, jam-packed of animators over there. So they were drawing frame by frame according to my drawings. So if I sent all those storyboards over, they would hand them out to different artists to animate the scene because it's 24 frames a second. So, you see what I'm saying? So there might be an establishing shot, and then you cut to a close-up and a 2-shot. So someone would be handed those storyboards, and they would say, okay, draw off that section. And then they'd assign them to all these animators according to what I drew. And then they would shoot it on film frame by frame and send it back to us in Hollywood, and then we would do the editing. But that's how you do it. That's how we did cartoons. And it was a blast. I loved it. But the shows I did, I drew all those panels, so everything you see is my drawings just animated and flushed out.
That is so cool. That was one of my favorite shows growing up, even though it made no sense to anyone else. And I was like, I love this, because of course my parents were like, why are you watching this? And I'm like, because I like it. I loved Nickelodeon growing up. Mm-hmm. I didn't have cable, but my neighbor did. So I was always hanging out at my neighbor's house, and I just sit there for hours just watching it.
I'm grateful to Nickelodeon because when I first got to Universal, I was a tour guide there, but mostly a tour guide at Nickelodeon. Because they shot TV shows like Super Sloppy Double Dare and Make the Grade.
That's my favorite show.
You know what I mean? Those shows?
Yes.
So I was a tour guide there.
That
mostly.
is so cool.
Oh yeah, and I even auditioned to be a host of a TV show and I almost did it, but I'm not a quick thinker. So it was a game show and you had to know numbers and stuff, and I just couldn't put it together, but I have the personality for it. I just can't quite put things together sometimes. But I auditioned to be a host of a game show. But I did warm-ups sometimes for the crowds and gave tours down there. It was great.
That sounds like fun. I was just telling her the other day, my daughter, that I would absolutely love to be a tour guide. I think that would be fabulous, right? I want to answer questions and I'm like, all right, this is what we did. And I feel like I have that about myself. And then I was telling her, like, how can I bring a tour here?
You know what would be fun? Is if we started a tour company of the area. Because I'm in the Civil War too. So you could go out to, what's
the battlefield out there. I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name off the top of my head.
Bentonville.
Yes.
And the other one, forget it. Anyway, but
there's also a tobacco museum out there too.
What?
Yeah.
Well, they have the one in Duke. Have you been to that one? The Duke Homestead? And they have a tobacco barn? See, we can...
Listen, we need to start this. Okay, all right. Once this podcast is over, we're going to talk about this. Because I'm with you on that. The reason I moved to North Carolina too is because it was really expensive to travel from Florida to here to see all the historical stuff, and I love history. And
really, you do?
I do. My first whole falling in love with it was when I went to Williamsburg, Virginia.
I haven't been there yet.
Oh,
I need to go.
It is so cool, and it's authentic. Like no cell phones. The people that live there, like they live the way they did in the 1800s.
I love that.
They even have authentic teeth, and I probably shouldn't say that, but they do. And I was like, oh, okay, but and there's a Busch Gardens there. I never went there, but I did do the whole downtown Williamsburg, and they make the food. Obviously, you can't eat it because it's not safe to eat, but they they showed you how they made food. I remember going into this smokehouse, and it just smelled so good.
That sounds cool.
And I was like, this is awesome. So I wanted to move up here so I could go do more of the historical stuff. And I love a plantation house. You know, I was looking at them and seeing the secret little doors and stuff where they hide stuff.
Yeah.
I just really love that.
Have you been to Edenton?
No.
Yeah, it's on your way to Outer Banks, and there's a story about a slave girl that was hiding, that escaped, but then came back into town and was hiding in an attic for like 5 years. Wow. And they fed her up in the attic, and she couldn't move. Amazing story. I forget what it's called, but she got free and wrote books and was an amazing person. But you know, the history of slavery around here too is very sobering.
Yes.
So
it is.
We can't forget it.
No, and when I was growing up in Florida, they touched on it, but the thing is that it's Florida. There's no evidence is I guess the word I'm looking for. So I literally thought that they were lying to me and they made it
really?
Because I lived in Florida on the beach and we learned about pirates and like I said, they touched on it, but that was about it. So that's kind of what started it. And then I went to college and I was learning in my history class, and she was telling me all of these things, and I'm just looking at her and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So I knew right then I had to move up here so I could see everything.
I have one for you.
Go ahead.
Did you know there's a marker in town? Have you seen it? The Civil War marker, over by the Christmas tree.
Oh, yes.
There's a Civil War marker. Do you know what it's about? Mm-hmm. Okay, so at the end of the Civil War, Sherman was coming up by train, and he stopped here. And there he was, I think Johnston was surrendering in Durham. And so in order for Sherman to get up to Raleigh and on to Durham or whatever, some guy took his shirt off, climbed on top of Sherman's train with a stick, his white shirt, as a surrender. And he rode all the way to Raleigh on top of the train to make sure, it happened right here on the tracks.
Oh, wow. So
some guy got up there with a thing. They should either reenact that, or I thought it'd be cool if they put a train, you know how they have a caboose sitting near the tracks, and have a guy up there like a mannequin with a white thing. His shirt cool. In the breeze, just permanently there. I think that would be interesting because people have no idea what happened here.
No, and have you been to the Selma Railroad Station?
I was just there for the first time.
Okay, they
have about a week ago.
Yes, they're awesome. We actually got to clean there before they remodeled.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
And I was super excited about it. And I went in and I was like, oh man, they have all this like historical stuff here. And then I come to find out that it's one of the last train stations here that you can like ride the rails all the way down to Florida and put your car on and all that fun stuff. And I was like, wow, like there's so much rich history here. Have you gone and seen the Last Colony? That's on the way.
No, I want to go out there. I haven't been there yet. I want to go to Ocracoke.
Yes, I've been.
Because that's where Blackbeard died.
Yes, and they have like a whole pirate theme thing out there. I love that.
No, I can't wait to go. I just found out about Ocracoke. I didn't even know about it. But I want to see the Lost Colony, and I want to see Duck and all those. And I want to see Kitty Hawk because I love aviation. So I want to see all that.
Kitty Hawk is interesting. I went out there, but this was, God, like 7 to 8 years ago. And when I went out there, you could, where I'm from, you cannot go on the beach, you can't camp, you can't have fire, you know, it's just you go.
Sarasota?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I go out here and they're like, yeah, you can camp here and there's dunes and there's this. And I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
It closes down pretty early, which is new to me, again.
Oh, right, they shut everything down.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay. So I actually got kicked off the beach in the middle of the night for having a fire.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, the cop was like, you know you can't do that. And I was like, no.
You're so radical.
I was like, how did I know that? But that was my experience out there. It was fun. I went and did the Lost Colony, which was really cool too. Yeah. And just kind of.
Do you know who did the Lost Colony? Is Andy Griffith. Do you know who he is?
Yes, because of my dad. My parents were obsessed with Mayberry. They want to go, which is not too far from here.
Mount Airy.
Yeah.
But he was in a summer theater out there, so he did Lost Colony.
I did not know that.
And he wanted to be a preacher, so he was in seminary, and then somehow got into acting.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, isn't it? I love this stuff.
Oh,
In school, I never cared about history, but for some reason now I'm crazy about history. There's a lot of great local history around here.
There is, and one thing that I learned, so I picked up this book at a library, and it was a book based on Clayton, and I'll give it to you, so you can read it too. But they had this whole thing about Percy Flowers in there, and his moonshine. And there apparently somebody had went to Raleigh and stole 2 horses and came back here with them. Really? And I laughed to myself because I'm thinking, no one's gonna, I mean, this is a drive now, 30 minutes to Raleigh. No one's gonna make that 2-day trek to be like, do you have my horse?
Yeah, that's crazy. Now, apparently, now we're talking about Andy Griffith, but in the show they have a whole thing about this guy doing moonshine. Did you remember the show at all? Because there's this guy, I forget his name, but they always have to go and they have a shootout with him. He's like, and they try to get him to shut down his still. And so there's a whole thing, and I think it's based on here, Percy Flowers, I think. I could be wrong, but it's definitely based on the North Carolina, and he was a big one.
That makes
to do
sense.
Now the other thing, I could have this wrong, people should look at her watch. How long is these old people talking about this? So apparently, the whole racing in Charlotte is because the moonshiners were out running the cops. So apparently that's what that was.
Yes, there's an old racetrack, and it is in Chapel Hill, Hillsborough area, and it's in the Eno River, and you can like go walk by, and they have some of the cars still out on there.
Really? Yeah. Now it's a walking trail.
Yes. There's so much history here. It's like so fun.
Well, Hillsborough's got a lot of history.
It does.
Revolutionary War history too. It goes all the way back to the Revolution. So it was the seeds for the Declaration of Independence were sown here in North Carolina, and I think they did a version there in Hillsborough. She's falling asleep, probably. Talk about cartoons.
Right?
Anyway.
That's great. I did want to ask though, because I am curious. You do a lot of drawing. Have you ever thought of being a tattoo artist?
No.
No.
Now, see, in your interview that I saw, that you like kind of like Coraline, you like dark.
Yes.
Kind of stuff. See, my mom took me to a horror flick when I was probably 6, and now I'm terrified of anything scary. So anything that's a little bit dark, I try and stay away from. So tattoos are kind of like, for whatever reason, it's just me. But never been interested. But
I was just curious.
Yeah, it's just me.
I like them on my body. I don't.
What do you have?
So I have I love Halloween.
Oh.
And I have 3 children, so I have 3 pumpkins,
Oh.
and then I'm a witch, and then my little bats.
Okay.
So I got that done, and then I am from Florida,
Mhm.
so I was like, I need a matching Florida tattoo from the same
Gotcha.
guy, and I love his work. I think he does really well. I think that he captured exactly what I wanted. So
That's cool.
I get a lot of compliments on him, and I'm like, that's perfect. I have one on my back too, but that I got when I was 24 years old, and that was my first tattoo. Who does that on their spine? Me.
Yeah.
That's like the worst place to get one too. And the guy's like doing it, and he's like, "You okay?" And I was like, "No, I'm fine. Like I've given birth twice. It's good." And he's like, "Okay." So then when I got this done, this one didn't hurt. This one, I don't know why, but this one was the worst pain in my life.
Really?
And I was like, "Why?" But it's not to say I'm not going to get more. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I always like to ask, if you like to draw, do you ever consider drawing stuff like that? Have you ever seen your work on anyone's body though? Because I know some people.
That's
who,
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are. With all the shows I've worked on, they might have taken a still or something from something I storyboarded. That I never thought about that. Yeah.
Your work is probably living forever on someone. Well, until they die, Speaking of, I saw this thing that once you die, they have a kit that they can scrape your tattoo off and give it to your family, and I was like, that's not happening.
Yeah. Plus it would dry and shrivel up.
Yeah, I was like, no, hard pass. Sorry, I'm gonna segue into that. That was
Like
gross.
beef jerky.
Do you want to just put them on the wall? No big deal. So where are you trying to go in the future? What are your future plans with being a caricature artist?
Don't hurt yourself, caricature. Well, I appreciate the question. So definitely want to keep doing the caricatures, but I was a fine arts major and I love all kinds of art. But oil painting's a passion. And also, I don't want to get back into stuff I haven't done since art school, which is charcoal stuff. So I want to do some charcoal drawing and oil painting. I'm doing a couple commissions right now, some portraits. So that's what I'm working on the side. And so one day I wouldn't mind, I've mentioned this to you before, is having a storefront here where I could have my artwork and you know how they have those wine and painting classes?
Yes.
I've done a couple of those before, so maybe have classes like that and do painting with the public. I also want to volunteer, so get out there in the community and volunteer for maybe needy kids or hospitalized people and stuff. So, hospitalized people. That's weird. But anyway, I want to volunteer in the community and stuff. But I love this community here. I want to be a part of it. So that's why I'm here. I'm trying to get started. And, but starting with the caricatures and going out from there.
I agree. I think, this is just my personal opinion, I think that Clayton needs more of an art community.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there's one out there that maybe I'm just unaware of. So if you guys know of one, just link that down below and let me know. But I think more art.
But we tend to be reclusive, though. A lot of artists just want to do their own thing. And the unique thing about me is I'm kind of outgoing, so this is great. But I wouldn't mind helping other artists. Maybe point them to you to get them to come out of their shell a little bit. But sometimes artists are very reclusive. They don't want to. They just want to paint or something. I'm kind of that way too. I just want to paint and draw. But now I'm forced with my company to get out there. And I'd much rather sit at home and paint and draw. But I don't know. It's great to get out and like the caricatures force me out of my shell a lot. And
So when you're doing them, when you're talking to people, obviously, do you add some of their personality
Mm-hmm.
into it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the whole talking is.
A lot of times I just draw them and whatever. Like especially the women, just don't draw me with wrinkles. Don't do this and that. And so I try and be real nice, but I goof on the guy a lot. But I read the room, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm feeling like someone's scared to get their drawing done, I'll try and do a straight ahead, beautiful drawing of them, make them look good. But if a guy's being obnoxious and his buddies are like, yeah, mess with him, then sky's the limit, lampshade on the head, no shirt, whatever I want.
A big nose.
It kind of read the room though. You don't want to do something that throws people off and becomes offensive. And that's the problem, that's the hard part, is not striking that balance. I had one guy say, jack me up, and I did. And he loved it and it was fun, but I don't usually do that. And I don't even do the typical caricature stuff because I was never trained. The guy that I got my first job off of, he goes, "Can you draw portraits?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You'll be fine." So I had no training at all. I just drew people's faces. And then after a while, I kind of did my own style. I have a very unique look to my stuff. I don't look like a traditional caricatures with the big nose and the exaggerated features. I just do kind of a cartoony portrait, which is why I called my company Tooney Ty. Because anyway, it's more of a cartoon illustration, but no one knows, aside from caricatures, what's out there. So I call it caricatures. It's really a cartoon portrait.
Oh, that's great.
But I can't advertise cartoon portraits. People would be like, "I have no clue what that is." But caricatures is like, "Oh, we had them at Disney," which I've done them at Disney too. So, but
oh, that's fabulous. I love that. I just had a thought come across my head when you talked about that. When I was in Savannah, Georgia, my best friend, I'm like gross today. My best friend, it was her birthday. And so we went out and we were walking around and there was a person sitting there and that's what they did. They drew very elegant pictures of us. And I'll have to find that so I can post it. But it was very nice and it wasn't like exaggerated. It was just a very, kind of like on the Titanic, I draw you.
Now listen, I consider myself in the middle somewhere because I've seen some phenomenal art. It blows my mind, and I would dream to draw like that. And I'm not a newbie, so I'm somewhere in the middle. People tend to like my stuff, but I don't know. I'm constantly comparing myself to other people and wishing I had what they had. But people seem to like what I do, so. But I'm as an artist like you, I beat myself up a lot and compare myself.
Oh, absolutely. I'm always like, I want to be like Trish, but she talks a lot more than I do, and I'm like, do I talk that much? I do. It's okay.
No, you're good.
But I need my pink microphone, So do you want to tell everybody where they can find you on your websites?
Sure. Thanks to my wife. It's tooneyty.com. That's TOONEYTY.com. You can send me a message, ty@tooneyty.com. I'm also on Facebook, of course, and Instagram, although I have no clue how to use Instagram. Full transparency. But I'm on there, so once I figure that out, I think things will get a lot better. But Tooney Ty Draws, so that's where that's at. And also I have a Facebook page, Ty Shafrath. And you can see I've listed all the jobs I've worked on.
And we're going to link all that with the episodes so that you guys can connect with Ty. But I want to thank you for coming out today.
Are we done already?
Yeah.
I thought we were just getting started now.
Well, do you want to show some of the things?
Well, I brought a little show and tell. Let me see if you can see that. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. That is the SpongeBob main model pack. They also call it a show Bible. But I brought it for her to look at. But anyway, this is, when you're doing storyboard, you need consistency. And when everyone on the show has one of these, you draw the same. So you can see some of the characters on this. It's called a walk cycle. Anyway, I brought this for show and tell for you. So anyway, that's what that is. And thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. You're going to have to come back in a year and you're going to have to update us on everything. And we're going to see where you are with getting your storefront because I want to see that happen.
Oh, now you're giving me a timeline.
Yeah,
I feel the
1
pressure.
year.
1 year. Okay, wow.
That's to record. I mean, it could take longer. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us for another exciting episode of Down Home Dirt. We'll see you next week.
Bye.